Let me now introduce our guest speaker, RUBEN Padilla. After years of teaching magic and enjoying a teaching career, he co-founded a new academic program, Learning is Magic, that celebrates learning and engages students with powerful magic. He's also an actor, a playwright, a writer, and a professional magician as a member of the exclusive Academy of Magical Arts, as well as the International Brotherhood of Magicians. While scientists make science fiction science fact, magicians and dreamers such as RUBEN make fantasy real. To tell his story of dreams, magic, and paying it forward, please welcome Mr. RUBEN Padilla.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for making me feel so welcome here tonight. I'm happy to be here. It's an absolute pleasure. And tonight I would like to share with you some magic. Not in the form of tricks and illusions like the ones we've seen so expertly performed here tonight by our two guest magicians, but rather magic with words and the illustrations that hopefully those words cause you to create in your own minds. Indeed, the entire purpose of tonight is to celebrate in all its fantastical forms the creation of words and illustrations. So what better way to deliver a keynote that addresses these artistic endeavors than with a story? So while I know that our group of winners here before me and you and the audience are way above your childhood, I'd like to tell you a story affirming the simple premise from L. Ron Hubbard that you can blow away and erase anger, hate, discomfort, or anything else with an aesthetic. I will tell you that his name is Jackie Mendez, but you won't find him under that name if you try to look. He was a fourth grader, just back from a 2-week holiday break. There's something special about fourth graders. I actually prefer teaching fourth graders because when you're in the fourth grade, you are still able to look silly. You're not afraid to extend yourself, to try new things. It's second nature to you. You enjoy it. Being silly or different or unique is fun, and anything is possible. In the 5th grade, I noticed that kids start to lose that. Somewhere in that magical summer between 4th and 5th grade, we become self-conscious. We try to blend in. We don't want to stand out. If we could, we'd like to be invisible. We dress in a way so as not to call too much attention to ourselves. We thrust our hands inside our pockets, shield our heads with a hoodie. Our voices get softer, and we become less than what we could be, what we should be, at least on the outside. On the inside, I like to think that that spark of imagination and yearning for self-expression and fun is still there. So the program that I created with my partner, Tonio Melendez, called Learning is Magic, thrived on intercepting children between 4th and 5th grade and encouraging them, validating them to fully be themselves with gusto and passion. Before the holiday break, Jackie Mendez was one of those kids. But when he came back, something had changed drastically. He was quiet, sullen, withdrawn, angry, and I soon came to find out why. Over the Christmas break, his older brother had been tragically killed. It was his only sibling and somebody he desperately looked up to. Our project was to write a scene from your life, your own experiences, your own ideas, and at the end of our residency, we'd have a show in front of the entire school. We'd have professional actors come in and act out those true life vignettes that the students so painstakingly recorded. Now, there was certainly an opportunity here to transform an act of tragedy into a beautiful act of creation. I asked Jackie if he wanted to consider writing a scene about his brother, making it perfectly clear that, of course, he didn't have to. And then he bitterly asked me the question, why should I? Why indeed? And luckily, I had an answer for him. I said, because something magical happens to you when you write something down, particularly an experience that is painful. He looked at me, wanting me to continue. Whatever experience you write down on that piece of paper becomes something that you own instead of it owning you. It's yours and yours alone. And because you created it, you can change it. I can change it, he asked. Absolutely. You can do anything you want with it. Nobody has to even read it if you don't want them to. You can rip it up and throw it away. I can throw it away, he asked. Absolutely. Writing gives you the power to do anything. And he thought about it for a while and finally agreed to write about his brother. But he didn't want to write about his death. That was too painful, understandably. He instead chose to write the memory of the last time that he was with his brother. As it happened, they were in the front yard throwing a football back and forth. No conflict, no anger, not even a goal or an obstacle. Just two brothers tossing a ball, talking about video games. It was simple. It was honest. It was beautiful. Can you see it? On the day of the final performance in front of the school, we brought in a professional actor to play Jackie's brother, and Jackie was to play himself. The auditorium was filled with students and faculty. Jackie's family was there. His scene was scheduled last because, really, how could you follow it? And during the intermission, before Jackie's scene, backstage, he broke down and began sobbing. The other students surrounded him and embraced him in a group hug, many of them crying as well. He continued to cry, and it was very clear that he couldn't go on, and we weren't about to make him. I later found out that this display of emotion was the first time that Jackie had been able to cry for his brother. Just before we went back on stage to announce this change in the program, one of Jackie's classmates said, "I can play Jackie." He had helped Jackie rehearse in the days leading up to the event, and he knew the lines. We asked Jackie if it was okay if somebody else played his part, and he said yes. So he went out into the audience and sat with his family and got to watch his words, his memory, his creation come to life on stage. And for 5 glorious minutes, his older brother was alive again. And to me, that's magic. And whenever I replay this memory in my mind, I don't just think about Jackie. I think about some other kid. Sometimes it's a boy, sometimes it's a girl. The face changes, but it's always a fellow student, a child, who is also sitting in the audience. And they, too, have something to say. And they don't even know how to begin. but they want desperately to take that step along that magic path, to share their voice, to be heard, and to gift us with their talent. Every single one of our honorees here this evening has, in their own way, walked a similar path. They've taken something that was uniquely their own, something that belonged to them. Perhaps it was something that to others seemed insignificant or lacking. But they breathed life into that spark. And they fanned the flames of creation, and they nurtured that impulse, and they used the tools of their craft, and the lessons of their lives, and the fever of their desire, and the instincts of their vision, and the necessity of their voice, and ultimately they created something that will outlive us all. What could be more magical than that? Whether it's fact, fiction, science, fantasy, I dare say that any act of creation is the result of tossing a few footballs back and forth inside our minds, and a lot of fumbles. In our program, Learning is Magic, we teach students our acronym for magic, because it belongs to anybody who wishes to create and share their artistry with others, and serves, at least for me, as a kind of recipe for living truthfully and achieving success in all of our endeavors, and certainly in our artistic expressions. Magic, M-A-G-I-C. Make a plan. Act without fear. Grow as a person. Imagine without limits, and commit to excellence. That's the magic path, and we are all magic. Thank you, and good night.